Hello, welcome. Today, I want to get into this thing of opening up to life, but really also maybe also give an example in how can we open up how can we free ourselves when we are in our lives at the point where we feel stuck in life, where we feel trapped. Reflect on this. Actually, also true reflection, maybe find freedom in this. I was thinking feeling trapped does not have to mean we are not moving in life. It can be that we are also actually, I see myself moving in life, but not really feeling alive. This can also give a feeling of feeling trapped. Perhaps even a state of panic in all this, feeling trapped, not seeing a way how to get out of this mess, this web. The image of tunnel vision, especially when we're very much panicking and the need of like, I want to get out of this trap, I need to get out of this, I need to feel alive, I need to do something, but what? But so let's reflect a bit here. Instead of also just continuing running, maybe inside of that tunnel vision, perhaps maybe let's reflect and look at our own vision and see if we can, while remaining in control, open up this vision so we see more than just the tunnel. And perhaps this can actually show us a way that we can walk, which can freeze us from this trapped feeling. There, I already touched something. Let's start with. So, also, me, I'm going to imagine that I'm in a state of trapped right now. Let's start this with our mind of this belief I am trapped. Let's look at this. Am I trapped? Or do I feel trapped? I think I'm trapped. May feel the same, we still feel secure with both, but notice that changing this belief, subtle and slightly, is already opening up slightly. I am observing myself feeling trapped right now. I'm seeing how I think I am trapped. And this can change. This belief, there is no way out. I may feel there is no way out. I think there is no way out. Maybe because I'm currently not seeing a way out. Again, this opens up possibilities that even though right now I feel trapped, I feel there is no way out, and I'm currently not seeing it, chill. that doesn't mean that there is no way out. There may be one, maybe we're just not seeing it. So let's chill, calm, take a deep breath, and see what else we can find. A belief of I cannot do this, I cannot walk this way, I cannot quit this job, I cannot leave this relationship. I want to bring in an example from my own life years ago, where I was at a point in my life where I was feeling very stuck and was doing such a reflection. I was at that time near the end of my studying at the university. From the outside, life was looking great. Just getting my degree, setting me up for life. But walking this path started to feel heavier and heavier and heavier for me. It's just, I have to write this thesis, but it feels so boring. It's like starting to feel, even though the work was easy in some way, but it just becomes heavy because it's so boring. It's like, no, I don't feel like doing this. You could call this in some way a burnout in itself as well, but at that point in my life, taking this as an example, the thought of I cannot quit school, I cannot give up on this commitment that I've made at that point in my life. I cannot just walk away from this. Let's look at that and realize, what does that actually mean? Why do I actually believe this? I can see how actually I can walk away, but yeah, wait. What would happen if I would walk away? Again, this example, I have made a commitment, also writing a thesis with one of my best friends at the time. Me walking away would mean he's a bit screwed and he has to take care of it, like I'm screwing him over. That was difficult. So let's imagine if I do walk away. Also, was feeling these expectations from my parents, my family, my environment, I guess, as a whole, a bit like, if I walk away from this, they are going to be pissed. They're going to be angry at me. They will not like me doing this. This feeling of that pathway may initially give me that idea of like, I cannot go there. I cannot face that. I cannot do that to my friend. I cannot do that to my parents. I cannot do that to. I cannot piss those people off. I don't want that reality. So let's look at the other path. I'll just go and do it. Go and write this thesis. Go and get my degree. And I was studying business engineering. So go and get my degree and do what? Get a job afterwards? Go work at a bank or something? But again, I was starting to realize in that moment itself, just writing that thesis, just doing that work, it was becoming such a burden, because it's like these questions of, I don't find any meaning in this. This is really not what I want to do. But I was still walking it because I didn't see any other path. Well, this other path of walking away from this started maybe to become more visible, but it's very uncomfortable to make this decision. And then this question of what do I really want? Observing this whole thing, being really honest with myself as well. If I just also seeing like my environment having all these expectations of me, they may be angry if I do not satisfy them or whatever, but am I living life for them or am I living life for myself? What is my real priority here? I feel like I'm alive, but I don't feel alive at that point in time. Well, because I'm living for other people, for these environments, to satisfy them. A lot of this happened my whole life unconsciously. We just live up to the expectations. But things started to happen. This period also, this was about a year after my brother died, suddenly died, and was a big shock and really made me question life itself. The question as well of being confronted by death, of this could all end at some sudden moment. So why am I even doing this? Where is the? It really made me question meaning of my life, and from there this deeper feeling of, am I living for them? Am I living for myself? When am I finally going to step up for myself? And what does that mean? Really, before the words, just feeling, becoming honest with ourselves, being honest with, sure, I may be passing the exams, I may be right doing my work, I may be showing up and doing all these things, sure, and my environment seems happy with that, sure, but here it's not. No, no, no. Something is really wrong here, and I cannot keep doing this to myself. This honesty of there needs to be a change, and this, as I'm feeling it now a bit as well, like having lived so long for other people, always putting my own self on the background, at some point it really started knocking heavily, started shouting within me, I'm also here. What about me? And from there, listening, feeling this. At that point in time, I came to the realization of, again, also reflecting, well, even if I walk away from school, even if I, staying in this example, but whatever, what am I gonna do? What actually do I want to do? Again, feeling the influence of this environment that I had around me at the time. What are my parents going to say? What is my family going to say? What are my friends going to say? This friend that I'm betraying, he will be angry at me. What am I gonna do with this? Because I'm starting to really feel, starting to suddenly really open up to this possibility of actually walking away. So let's imagine walking this path. What am I gonna do? But again, am I going to let my life be dictated by my environment? Go get some job, then they might say, or pursue some other path, or am I really going to step up into like finding my own way? And then also, let's look at our current situation. Again, in the example at that time, it's like I want to become independent of my parents. I don't want them, they might become like, because in some way I feel their worries of like, you should get a degree so you can get a job, so you can be set up for life. And sure, I also don't want to just go and live there, be dependent on them, that they have to provide for me. I also feel like, yeah, I want to step up and live my own life without being dependent on them, sure. But that means in a grounded way, I will have to provide for myself, which again, our beliefs can be like, get a job, you need money. But let's reflect on this. Let's see, what is it that we actually truly need? I do need a roof. I do need a place to stay. I do need money. Well, I need food. Things like that. Start from those basic needs. And instead of always this assumption without even questioning them of like, this is how I'm going to get this, let's question these assumptions. And actually, by doing that, we open up and more possibilities start to become visible. I also acknowledge we have to be calm enough so we can open up, relax. So we have to let go of this panicking of we need to resolve everything right now. It's like, sure, let's do that, but the only way we actually do that is by calming down. So breathing, truly looking at what is all truly possible in this current situation I'm in. Again, going to that example, I'm acknowledging I need some kind of finances, but also seeing at that point in time I already had this room in the city, and this period it was still going for, I could stay there for another 6 months or so. And yes, my mother was still paying for that, my parents were paying for that, but when I made these decisions, I also didn't know either way. Like, she said, okay, you can do that. But in my own reasoning at the time, it was a bit like, I have a roof for now. I have a place to stay for now. This gives me time to figure out. I acknowledge I don't necessarily know where I'm fully going, where this is going to lead me. I remember this now. But at least I'll feel like I'm not betraying myself anymore, walking this path. It can become really dark, as in, or heavy at such a decision point in life where we truly feel like, I really don't want to live another day walking this path that I'm walking right now. That doesn't mean you have to end your life. Some people, when they're really panicking, they may come to such a decision, but that is a mistake in my eyes. If we are able to reflect, we can find another way. In some way, it does also mean letting go, giving up on a certain way of how we're living life. And by doing that, we're choosing a different way. A way where we actually feel like this is something I want to walk. and I don't necessarily know where it's going, but I came to that point in my life where even if it's just one day, even if it's just a week, even if it's just a month or a year, at least I'll feel alive while walking it. And at the same time, let's acknowledge things most likely, or at least can, become more visible as we're walking. The same with this example of, all right, I have my housing set up for another 6 months. This gives me time to figure things out in those months, to truly question, like, not everything needs to be resolved in this moment right now. Give ourselves time. What I also did was actually I started to, all right, finally now getting in touch with my feeling again. Finally choosing myself again. And I started to focus on my own healing like crazy. Also had this trauma of my brother dying, and it was me actually taking space, taking time to finally truly focus, give my whole focus on this. It was already happening in some way, but either way, now I could truly focus on that, at least for the time being. Also, like, I knew I had a couple of thousands of euros on my savings, more than enough for the next couple of months to manage um, buying food, these necessities. And it makes me think also of like our lifestyle itself. Some often what we truly need is we can change our lifestyle, take away all those fancy things can often also open up a lot of possibilities. If we stop spending so much money, we need less money. Is basically what I'm saying here. Well, and to continue maybe on this story, even though I did not know at the time where it was going to take me, I was still very happy. And these decisions, they were very difficult at the time. Letting people know I'm walking away. Um, but at least I guess also it's a good thing to make this decision for ourselves first, to choose, well, I have to do this. That that belief maybe as well, we can question that, why do I have to do this? Because we can certainly feel it in this way as well. I have to go and finish my degree, I have to go finish school. Why do I have to do this? Well, I actually don't feel I have to do this. It's my parents, it's my family. I'll manage. Without this, I'll manage. I'll find a way. Trusting ourselves. Give yourselves the time and space. We can find a way. Even though I do not know the answers now, even though I do not know my whole path right now, can figure these things out on the way as well. And no, you don't have to be completely blind. Let's also actually do that. But it's a process, an honor that it is a process, that it also takes time. You cannot keep cheating yourself into like, oh, everything will be fine, everything will be fine. The thing is, we also have to maybe transform something. And maybe I would say today, looking back on this, now being, I don't know how many, but maybe even 7 years later, later or something, 5, 6, something like that. Best decision of my life. And honestly, I was also thinking today, I really don't know where I would be, or if I would even still be here if I didn't make that decision back then. It's very much also jumping into the unknown. It also reminded me of I was actually already having such experiences where in my mind I would see an image of it's like space, and then suddenly there is this portal, this kind of a door, and then there was this being which I feel a bit represents a bit my passed over brother, the one who died at the time. I was in some way communicating with that energy, even though he didn't appear in the form he was in the physical. Either way, this thing was saying like jump. And initially I was also like, what? I cannot see where this is going. Are you crazy? So it's like I walked away from that portal. This jump, making this jump of truly choosing ourselves. It's outside of living from that ego mind of living to other people's expectations, living to what the world wants me to be, to what is socially acceptable. But looking back on my experience, my own life was becoming so miserable that might as well just jump through the door. Anything better than this life? That is one way we can jump through that. There are some other ways. Some require like deep trust. In some way, you could say this being telling me to jump this gate did not. I did not fully trust this person or being or whatever. You have to be a bit crazy. That's on another way to just jump into the unknown. Was a very, I like my security as well, and like reflecting on before making such crazy decisions. But this miserable thing can make you also just jump. You can also think about this like if you truly feel like even giving up on life, anything starts to feel better than truly ending. It's like at least let us try something else which can allow us to make such a jump. And now, having lived that, surely it came with a whole lot of challenges, and it was not an easy path, but so happy where I am right now in my life. That is uh, what came from that decision, that major decision in my life of choosing my heart, choosing to step up to myself, to choosing a life that I can actually love, and to go from that feeling. And letting that guide me through many more decisions after that. And yes, very happy with this life I'm living now. So this is one way we can open up through this reflection, truly questioning our own beliefs, letting new possibilities open up, through imagining instead of really trying to look for our own hidden assumptions that we are making. Hidden because we automatically make them without questioning them. This thing, what I said about I cannot walk this path, hidden assumption that you cannot do this, you actually can, but you don't really want to. And then by reflecting a lot on that, these paths can suddenly do become walkable. In that way, initially we may not see a way out, but if we are able to sit with ourselves, to keep reflecting with ourselves, perhaps find someone else who can do this with us, who is willing to walk us through this, who is willing to ask these questions to ourselves. And then let's not run away from these questions. It's interesting because I hear this in my head as well, like I cannot walk this way. And then when you ask this question of like, are you sure? Someone can be very angry responding to that. But we have to allow ourselves to ask that question and truly question, so we can open up to new possibilities. In a way, they were always there, but we were. It's also interesting, this thing I started off with, I am trapped in that state of being. It is your identity. Let's realize this is how I'm currently experiencing life. That already gives you another identity, puts you much more in the observer, gives us much more freedom instead of holding on to then that identity. Because when you truly believe you are trapped, you're going to reinforce that with your tunnel vision. So I want to round up this video. Hope it has brought you something. Have a good one.